Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Resource protection.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this. Obviously, it's kicking the can down the road, ain't gonna work for us. And I would much rather use these two. They've expressed an interest in it. To figure it out for us. They have the background, they have the knowledge, they've done it before, versus SMPDC. You know, there's the contacts, call people, see what we can do. Can we bring it back to our old one? Can we shrink our size? What can we do about it? You know, I feel the most time-effective way is to let these guys do it and kind of work directly with us as far as that goes, because everything would have to be passed to us to, you know, to get it submitted or whatever. So that's my thought. We can discuss it before, you know, kind of like make a motion on it, but I know it's not a meeting, but that's where I'm at with it, because I can't see bringing it back to SMPDC, because, you know, that's kind of why we're in this position to begin with, from the map that they wrote, you know. So, any thoughts would be welcome.
What's your thought?
Fine. You can lay out a program for us and tell us what you're gonna do, and
We've come back before you with some options and avenues of what is available, what's available for resources, possibly a quick fix, and then a future for the town of let's start setting some money aside into a better mapping system down the road. Not all at once, a big post fall, but see if we can get this resolved soon, so we're not holding up property owners from developing on their property if they can.
Yeah, I mean, one in particular, and it's not just because it's, you know, somebody I know or whatever, but it's like over on Spur Road, you know, no reason why the young couple can't build a house.
Yeah.
But they can't because of the way our maps are written.
Yeah.
You know, it's asinine to make them wait this long, you know, they're in the process of going through construction, all that's on hold. You know, so.
Yeah, we gotta do something, make it right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I'm agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
what's the planning board chairman think about being set aside and turning this over to somebody else?
I guess the first thing I'd want to do is check the ordinance to see if it was legal.
See what's legal.
For you guys to take over land use ordinance stuff. I'm just curious.
The way I look at it, Joe, is you guys hire SMPDC to do all your ordinances for you. So we're foregoing that, we're hiring SMPDC, which the town pays for, we authorize, and just having somebody else that we're more confident with. And they don't write the land, they make recommendations and tell us what we can do. They're not gonna write it. They give us the wordage, and then it's up to us to put it into.
So what you have to define here is who's us.
The town?
The
Is
town.
it the selectmen or the planning board? When
Based
you're
on
saying
what?
give us recommendations, who's the us? Do you understand what I'm saying? Jim does.
Yeah.
I guess it would be actual, you know, it's go through everybody as far as that goes, but as far as, you know, a meeting every 2 weeks ain't gonna get this thing done, you see what I'm saying, and talk about it, and nothing gets resolved.
You do what you wanna do.
Yeah.
Could it go through, they make their recommendations, but it goes through you guys instead, planning board?
I think that's
I mean-
what the land use ordinance says has to happen.
Okay,
The,
that's what I'm thinking.
Just, you know,
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, either one, I mean, I think you guys, the planning board is more experienced and
I would just interject something here, but parts of our land use ordinance were written by committee outside the planning board. And, then it was put to the planning board and put to a vote to the townspeople. And I don't see what Dale is suggesting is much different than that, is that somebody's hired to, come up with some recommendations, and then it's put to the planning board. The planning board does have a function here, though. And they have to review it, and they have to take it through a town meeting, or not a town meeting, but at least a public hearing, and then pass it over to the selectmen to take it to town meeting.
You started, Bob, by saying that ordinances were written sometimes by a committee that wasn't the planning board, and the committees were appointed by the planning board.
Mhm.
So was the committee for the gravel pit ordinance?
Yes,
My understanding is that was came about as a result of, townspeople.
true, and it was appointed by the planning board.
To the people who,
Yeah, I mean, you know, it was worked out between the planning board and the people who wanted to write the ordinance.
so,
Yeah.
um,
I think Joe's right, it's, you know, I remember that. This was a result from way back when, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You remember my father speaking of it.
but, I mean, we have a resource here, I think we ought to use it. We're already paying them.
I think you're jumping ahead of, you've gone down a road that you did not, you didn't request the planning board to go down it. You guys just went down the road. Continue on down the road. I just don't think it's legal, but that's up to you. I'm surprised, Dale, at you, because you're the one who doesn't want to see development in town. I look at you as a selectman who opposed development.
Of course, that's why I was so upset about the LD 2003, but this
Yeah.
isn't about that, this is about people that own the land already, and this new ordinance is, since 2018,
Yep,
just restricts so many people from things that they thought they were gonna do on their own land.
and I think it's possible to change that.
Right, and
Yeah.
that's where I wanna see it, where I want this to lead, and I have no faith in Michaela or SMPDC, I'll be totally honest with you.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, no
Yeah.
shade against her personality or whatever, I just don't think that she has the experience or the know-how to realize what the town of Baldwin actually wants, and, because when it all boils down to it, we can do a lot of things that we want,
yeah,
and squeak under any kind of radar, not illegally by no means, but the bare minimum. And I don't think SMPDC does that for us. So I see two people that can do that for us. You know, with that finding, yes, we'll go back to the planning board. Got no problem with that. But
Okay.
what I didn't wanna see is it go forward every 2 weeks, talk about it, nothing happens, 2 weeks, nothing happens. Because, you know what I mean, we could be months till the end of the year figuring this thing out. If it went to SMPDC, planning board, you see what I'm saying?
okay.
I mean, if you guys vote your own ordinance, yeah, I can see you being upset if they get, you know, a toe got stepped on, and that's not what I'm trying to do. It's just that I know that SMPDC writes our ordinances for us.
Yeah,
Personally, I don't want this one done by them. This is my way of trying to remedy that, I guess, you know, the legality of it, you know, and I guess common sense would tell me that if they're fine, we hire them to do what they can do, whatever, present it to the planning board, present it to us, and then obviously it has to go to a town vote anyway. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
I'm 100% with you, Dale. With one exception is putting the blame on SMPDC for the previous map. As with anybody you hire to do your work, they will deliver you a product, and it's up to you to do a quality control on it, and I don't think that was done.
Could I interject here something, because I was on the planning board,
And you did
you
the
know,
quality control.
since Noah was riding the waves. when they gave us that map, they asked us, they said, this is the worst-case scenario in terms of development, and we can refine this if you want. And we said, no, we'll just go with what this is. And a lot of my land was left in resource protection, and I said, oh, okay, fine with me, you know, whatever. And we since used an amendment to the ordinance to take some of my land out of resource protection. And we have somebody right now who is using that same amendment to take her land out of resource protection. Just
So,
me.
I think
The remedy's there,
that reinforces
in
the
place,
point.
being used right now. Today.
You're talking about them doing their own independent tests and this, that, and the other thing,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep, I'm just, well, there it is.
Yeah, to me, I can't see making Baldwin taxpayers jump through them hoops to do that and spend all that kind of money, it doesn't make any sense, you know?
So that means
Yeah, for
that,
people that wanna buy, you know, we got growth ordinances, this, that, and the other thing. But for people that have got a chunk of land, or whether it be family land, or whether it be this, whether it be that, whether the parents, you know, the longtime Baldwin residents, which is the couple that I'm talking about, is, we shouldn't have to make them jump through them type of hoops.
so what does it cost you and me, Dale, to have the town do it for everybody?
They're gonna tell us. That's what their proposal's gonna tell us,
Okay.
how they would do it. So this is probably the thing, if we'd had the expertise at the time in-house, maybe we would have done it that way. I agree with Dale, that it's probably something that should be done soon.
Mhm. And just making common sense out of it, just, you know, it's like, you know, whether it's like.
Well, you know, it's a little bit of hindsight here too, and I've looked at the map a number of times, and it paints a broad stroke across, you know, my daughter's farmland,
Mhm.
in the hayfields and stuff, and I don't worry about it, nobody's gonna knock at the door or anything, we're not gonna build a house there either, so it really didn't impact us, but, it should be done, I mean, you know.
Something's gotta be done, because we
Right.
got pictures of these people, it's gotta be doing.
Well, that's just it, I mean, it's not like we're just
That's
gonna
like
shrink
we
it down to nothing and just encourage everybody to build everywhere, it's just getting to a point where
It's more reasonable,
reasonable.
And
it's just a matter of who's gonna do it.
You know, I've heard the comment that this is what the townspeople voted for. Yes, but I don't think they voted for this in knowing that the impact it would have on certain people's land.
Mhm.
And so, I don't know, you know, there's no need to point fingers at anybody, to just say that we think it ought to be fixed, and, move ahead with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, as much as I disagree when you hear me talk about SMPDC, I don't think they set out anything to do anything malicious or anything like that, so. I think that, that's what I say, I think it's, they just go by the resources they have, by every state mandate that's out there, and then to cover what.
So you think they're doing like a blanket type of, what's good for one is good for everybody else?
No, according to what Joe said, they knew that it was painting a lot of areas that weren't necessarily needed to be.
True.
And the planning board said, well, we'll just leave it. And, probably didn't understand what was gonna happen to people's house lots and stuff, and, that's okay, you know, we'll just move on.
Anyway, we gotta fix it, whatever.
Just change it, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And you look at me, as when Dale Cressy was in here,
Yeah.
so he's in resource protection now, so I'm calling each other.
be legal.
Because I think at the time when they took the picture or.
Well, that's just it,
Yeah,
that's just
it was
it.
a snapshot in time, and it showed where he was draining out the pond at the time for, you know.
Yeah, he had a spillover for it,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since I've been on the planning board, I think there's been like 3 other people that have come forward because the map issue, and it's like,
There were up to 9 different properties.
I was thinking it was like 8 or 9 people that were in discontent right now.
yeah. I
With
think
land that
but
they
there's
bought
been-
or
I think
owned.
I've seen
There
3
could
of
be
them that have
more,
come to
too.
the planning
Yeah,
board.
that haven't even tried to do anything yet, don't even realize. you know.
Right.
So, you have a motion?
I make a motion, we hire these two to research our resource protection map and,
I would second that with the amendment that they tell us kind of their plan, how they want to go about it, what the resources you would use to do it. So that we have some confidence that it'll solve the problem, because at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we are solving the problem and not just brushing it against it. So,
And I would think too, that they need to keep the planning board involved too.
Yep.
They're the ones that,
yeah, we need to keep it all legal and stuff, and like I said, I don't wanna step on any toes,
Right.
just to expedite it along, it's like, how long can you keep beating that horse, you know, it's like,
so pretty much just leave Southern Maine out of it.
right,
Do
you
the
know,
same
they're good for
thing.
their thing, but.
Do the
yeah.
same thing, but just leave them out of it. I'll be willing to try that,
all those in favor?
but just make sure you keep the planning board involved. They're gonna be the ones making the final decision too, because it is.
It's the
planning
land
board.
use.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
land use issue.
The bylaws of the planning board is for review of ordinances and recommendations to the selectmen.
Yeah,
So the selectmen actually have the final
Right,
authority on the
right,
ordinance.
but-
Yep. And then, of course, the town vote.
So that's saying they have to present it to us, this chain of command.
Right,
I still wanna leave them out of the loop.
Yeah,
So they have a chance to
they wanna
discuss the
get a copy
proposal.
of the bylaws, their bylaws. Familiar with them?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Jim, is there anything else you need from us, or are we all set?
I'm all set.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, good, good. We got our work cut out for us.
As long as it can be fixable, you know.
Oh, I
Work
think
with-
it can,
Work with the townspeople.
I think if you put some criteria,
And without too much fighting going on. I've heard some things that,
well, actually, Jim, I'm a lover, I'm not a fighter.
one of the meetings, didn't go so well.
Yeah.
And nothing gets done when that happens. All right,
Good, thank you.
thank you for coming. Amendments to the land use order.
Kathy, you want to say just a minute? So, Joe, I forwarded you a email with some updates, so I thought the land use ordinance that we post and certify needed to have to it. I haven't heard back from you on it.
Oh, I thought you were just taking care of it and having it done.
No, I haven't, I was waiting for you to say okay.
Okay,
There was a couple of more, typo type things that
yeah, that's what I thought.
Kathy did as well. She
Yeah.
did a review, which was very good. You hit the same points that I did, with just a couple more, actually, that some carriage returns that needed to be made to make it readable. So, with that, then we'll, do the updates.
Fine with me.
Okay, good. And then we'll get it certified and back on the web.
Great.
Good.
And I asked, there's actually some questions in there that I came up with that needed clarification before it goes back in front of the town for a vote and finalization.
Yeah, I know, and it,
Excuse me, Kathy, you have to talk up if you want me to hear you.
Oh, yeah. There's actually some sections in there that I flagged out that need clarification as to what was actually voted on and approved by the town on a few different scenarios.
I did the same thing that you did, only a little bit earlier than you did,
Okay, so you,
and highlighted it. You can read my comments if you want in here.
so you found the answers of what was voted on at that town meeting, perfect.
Yep.
Damn, did I get any small?
Well, I didn't wanna print it from my printer.
It breaks a lot of paper there, yeah.
A lot of paper.
Yeah.
So, Steve, my question in this is, I mean, we had a land use ordinance, it incorporated the LD 2003, and it also incorporated it as an add-on with the marijuana. The marijuana kept separate. So, in the town meeting, we rejected the land use ordinance because it was all tied into the LD 2003. So why shouldn't them papers just be thrown in the trash and pull out to a valid 18 ordinance out and go
I'm
by
not
that?
sure that that's how it was done, though. I think it was presented with as an ordinance with a bunch of strike-throughs.
Did we change other things in the land use ordinance that?
Yes.
It was done in 2 stages. The voting was done in 2 stages, but it was complicated, and I knew it was gonna be a problem when we went into it.
And then I think somebody made one of those things with their thumb when they're trying to push with their pinky and erased a few paragraphs and.
I think, no, I know that happened, but I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and see. I might have what was put in front of the town, but it came in 2 bits. One part of it was to strike out the ordinances for marijuana, and the other part of it was published, I think, concurrently and part of the same thing, but it had a bunch of strikeouts and repairs. I think that's where the confusion went. And so, to get back to the original use ordinance, with just the marijuana changes, required somebody to go back and take the marked up one and make it back to the way it used to be.
So what you're saying is the original document was essentially lost because of edits.
Yeah.
That's what Dale's like, just go back to the original one, but it had been edited to a point where things were lost and there was no longer a true original Word document form to go back to.
I believe maybe SMPDC started with a PDF. And
We think that this problem in the future will not happen again because we now have Carrie to take care of keeping track of version control. That's going to be one of her jobs.
That's good.
We've got somebody in place who can focus on that sort of thing. We're very pleased about that.
Good.
But I think it highlights the thing is that we, as town officials, when we put these things out, need to review what we're gonna put out there, because people are doing it on our behalf, but we're kind of the final quality control. It's a lot of work, pull the guys out, trying to go page by page or whatever, to make sure it says what you think it's supposed to say. That's what it takes, so. But, we'll get the final version up. If you want, Kathy, when you're in here the next day or two, we'll sit down and go through your comments, match them with mine. You don't have an email now, do you?
The Baldwin Code Enforcement.
So so it's in my,
Might make sure.
yeah, and I can send it to him. I don't know if I did or not before, but, you compared the 2 comments, but we were pretty much spot on.
Good.
I thought really you were correcting grammar and, a few words here and there to make things clearer, and
Well, yeah.
it looks good to me, and it wasn't anything stupendous,
There are, what we were doing is, and she did the same thing, is, and I think it was in the original, was like in things that say these are allowed or permitted, the line would have 2 or 3 items in the line, and then there's a whole list. If you didn't see it, couldn't read it real quick on the line, you might just skip around and say it's not there.
Yeah.
It's best, if you're gonna do everything like that, it's best to put them
Do it all
all
the
in
same
one.
way, yeah. And I appreciated the clarification.
Yeah.
But you're saying, if I'm not mistaken, that you think that because this is changed around and clarified a little bit, that we have to go back to a town meeting?
I don't think so. I think
That's, I was hoping you would not, were not saying that.
No, I think it's just, we didn't edit it back to the way it's supposed to be.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
All right, how to pay the chimney repair?
We'll just say use contingency reserve.
Okay, are we using,
His contract.
yeah,
Yeah, get it done. I mean, it's still in the heating season. I think it's a safety issue.
yeah,
We can do it.
Yeah. We'll find out and report back to you.
okay. Wetlands role in the tri-town. It's been discussed that the tri-town waste that kind of have a selectmen kind of step to a side and have like a committee for the tri-town. We're trying to figure out if it's legal, if it's in any ordinances. Anybody's thoughts on that?
I tried to research to figure out how our participation in tri-town is approved at the town level. And I know that or I believe that it happened between the February or March '92 meeting and the following year. Because it shows up in the '92 town report, tri-town report shows up in there. It doesn't show up in previous year's report, in the '91 report, and it's, what they have listed in there is $50,000 or thereabouts for solid waste disposal. Nothing about tri-town or anything, so. I think it happened sometime in there, and there must have been a special town meeting to approve it. But what it says, I don't know, you know, if there's an ordinance that specifies that the selectmen will be members of the board or something.
I'll ask the old man if he remembers.
He should have some kind of an inkling of what happened.
Yeah, he was part of it, yeah.
How are you guys gonna keep track of tri-town if one of you doesn't go to the meetings? Personally, I'm upset. I am not seeing a school board member come to selectmen's meetings to tell you guys what's going on. I used to do that when I was on the school board. And I think a school board member should be coming to you 2, 3, 4 times a year to talk about, it's a hell of a lot of my money out there, okay? And you guys are the ones who are ultimately responsible for how my money gets spent. And I'd like you to know more about it. And that would be the...
I'm with you on this one, Joe, this one, you know,
We're not even sure if we can get it.
yeah, no, I mean, to me,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, don't look at me when you're talking about that.
we
Like I
just
said,
got
Walden
that.
is in the minority, I think, on this issue, but
Yeah.
I'm the
I
one
don't
that keeps
know
putting the
who
brakes
raised
on it.
it.
Huh?
I don't know who raised
I think Brent.
this serious
Brent and
question, but yeah.
Karen.
Yeah.
It was done the meeting I was absent at, and I came into last night's meeting,
No, it's been.
learning
a
about
long
it.
time.
It's been a while.
I raised the same reservations, it's like, you know, you get people, you know, then people on there with agendas, and then all of a sudden we all got colored bags that we have to. And that's not the way it's designed to be, you know what I mean? I think it runs pretty smoothly, and like you said, it's ultimately we're responsible for the money that, I gotta tell you, at the town, at the tri-town meeting, it's me, Jim, Bob, and Karen,
Karen,
and lucky to get somebody else to show up.
Brent,
I think that's the big issue, is the other towns are having a hard time getting selectmen to show interest. I don't know, it's why they don't show up. I'm sure they have various reasons, but, Baldwin religiously shows up pretty good.
yeah.
The other towns, hit or miss. So,
We have the best selectmen around.
that's true.
Thank you.
We also pay the most.
Do we now?
You pay the most, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you
Of
do.
the five
Well,
towns we
we
pay
deserve
the
it.
most.
You do.
We get what we pay for, huh?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, just something we're throwing out there and kind of, either way, I don't care either
Well,
way.
they're talking about
I think
town
it's
meeting.
part of our job to go over and.
other towns are bringing it up at town meetings at this point, and so I thought we just don't want people to be blindsided, but on the other hand, I'd like to know, where it stands.
Yeah.
I would have thought there would have been an ordinance or something for the town to participate in.
Yeah.
A foundational document?
Well, there's an agreement where the town along, and I signs a 30-year contract with Casella or somebody to take our trash. And they just re-signed that a year or so ago.
Yeah.
So I think the original one must have been in, 92, because they just re-signed it when you and Dwight signed it.
Yeah.
And, I don't know, maybe that was all they had on the board at the time.
Maybe.
Maybe Gary
Gary.
had stepped aside by then.
No, he wasn't showing up at meetings today.
So anyway, so there's a contract that the Tri-Town has with the contractor who takes our trash, our household trash. But that's not necessarily the document that established Tri-Town.
There's something that says Cornish isn't part of this. You
Right.
know, I mean,
Well, I don't know.
there's something that says these three towns are involved.
These three towns are involved, and they
Yeah.
all voted in their town to approve it. I mean.
How do you open it up?
Huh?
How do you open it up to anybody else if you don't have a foundational document to open up? I mean,
There's gotta be something voted on at a town meeting.
yeah.
It could have just been an article to say, go ahead, selectmen, go do your thing, but
Maybe more restricted. Then again, you know, the way things were filed back then, they got lost. In totes, filed in totes.
It's with the building code.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I noticed in here that our building code is mentioned in here.
It should be. I remember at a town meeting,
it's still,
2017 or something like that, wasn't it, the last time? 2017, I think, the last time it was.
it's mentioned in a couple of places, but here's, I think it was mentioned right up the front somewhere. I'll find it otherwise.
I remember one of the selling points about the building code was vote for this one before they come out with the next one, which will be more restrictive.
Yeah, change it.
Yeah, continuous improvement, it's called.
All right. Assess it.
So, we've discovered that we've got our, comprehensive plan review, public meeting, hearing, whatever, on the same day that we had scheduled for, Cumberland County to come talk to us and meet the public, so to speak.
Oh.
So we're kind of asking them to give us another date.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we've been talking to, Fireman Porter about what they do, and, it's interesting that, I don't remember here, but Brent Day from Porter gave me what they're spending. I don't know if they're getting a better product or not, because I don't interact with them, but
they're spending $22,000 a year for pretty much the same thing that we get. I think we get a little bit better product because we have access to Vision, where you can go in and put your property or address or name or whatever in there and see for a particular lot exactly what makes up your tax bill. And when I look on theirs, you can see the property card, but there's nothing in there that can really tell you how you're coming up with. And that's one of the reasons I thought that the Vision, people getting access to Vision was, if you question your tax bill, you have the resources out there for you to get into it deep and figure out what you're paying for. Unfortunately, I don't think a lot of townspeople know it. I've talked to a number of people saying, well, just go look right there, you know, it'll tell you, it's got a sketch of your house, how big it is, you know, whether it's got a second floor, how many acres, whatnot. But anyway, I think Karen James said they were doing something similar, because they realized they had to upgrade theirs, but, so cost-wise, we're not far off from other, otherwise, you know.
Be interested in learning more about the company that they use. I know we had that quick conversation last night. You know, I'm always looking for the least bias approach. We'll have the actual county do it, it's, you know, it's actually.
I don't think just because they work for the county that they necessarily vote one way or the other, or.
No,
think that
but
they
you
should-
have to follow the regulations of the county, and which of course anybody else would too, but, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I got a sour taste for it.
You're just playing Andy Government.
I just.
No, you're just playing Andy Government.
Well, it's just they put us in with Gorham and Scarborough and, you know, and, you know, circling back to the, resource protection. I mean, Scarborough built on a marsh and just bring in dirt and build a house, you know. So,
Yeah, right, yeah.
So I don't know if the state's really.
I think there's a lot more leeway
Yeah.
than what we've given ourselves. I think that's the real issue.
You know, if you go down 302 Westbrook, Price Corner area, and there was a little pond, if you're going down, it's on the left, it's gonna, and somehow a business is built right beside that little pond, you know, within the last 2 years. It's like, oh, they do that, you know?
No, I know what ordinance we have to follow.
Right,
all that,
yeah,
but-
I mean, it's right beside the little pond, whose butt did they kiss?
The selectmen's daughter, maybe it's a good house or something.
I don't know if the business, I think it might be, you know, like, constant, excavating business website. Anyway, all right, remind us, we got, planning board meeting this Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Kathy, got it?
No, not yet, not yet.
Shelley?
No.
Okay. All right. Kathy, you guys got it? Barry?
Well, thank you for asking.
There you go.
Isn't there a clock thing coming up at the library? Tomorrow.
What?
The clock was,
Well, it's the historical society,
Yeah.
putting it on, it's not
Right.
a library.
So Dr. Beaver is coming from Cornish to talk about clocks. He repairs them, and at 7 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yep, and there's also a handmade and functional show that's up around the walls and tables. And
Awesome.
it's people that made things by hand, mostly women, but not exclusively. And, you should come and take a look at it.
It's awesome. I like it.
That's all I have.
Hi, what you got?
Hi, my name is Mary Ellen McLean, and I live, on, well, I don't live, I have residence on Pine Lane off of School Street. And as everybody knows, that's a pretty historical street with a lot of character. And we have some new builds there, I have a lot of land there, so, you know, we have the food pantry there at the church, and I'm concerned because the road is impassable impactful. So I'm just wondering, I was gonna write a letter to the selectmen, I was gonna talk to Chris at the town garage, whatever the case was, but I really think it needs to be addressed, because that road gets used quite a bit, for public use. And so, I'm hoping that something can be done about that with the highway department, addressing it in the spring, not just top coating it, but it really needs a complete overhaul.
So you're talking about School Street?
School Street.
Yeah.
Not Pine Lane, that's me, that's on me.
I think we've talked about that quite a bit.
Has anybody been down there? 'Cause I can't even go down the road, I have to go the other way around.
I think didn't you do something where they went across the railroad tracks?
Yeah, that's at the beginning, yes. Yeah, they repaired that.
Yeah.
But the road itself, all the way up to where I am on Pine Lane, so halfway down the street
Yeah.
is impassable. And you have school buses going down there.
Yeah.
You know, and that could be a concern for the town, because if they go over something and a child gets hurt or something, you're in trouble, we're in trouble.
Yep.
So I'm just hoping that,
We could ask Chris where it is on his road repair schedule.
yeah, he's been really good about things that I've asked him in the past, but,
But he's the one we turn to, because, he runs the schedule.
who's he?
Chris, he's the road commissioner.
That's you.
That's me.
Good thing I didn't talk trash about you.
You can if you want.
I wanna thank you for
You
the
won't be
sign.
the first.
I wanna thank you for the sign, and I wanna thank you for the School Street sign that you put way up on the pole so nobody can get to it and take it off again.
That's the second one I've put up.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but anyway, so yeah,
So
really,
when
I would like
when
to see this.
Yeah, when I started, we looked at it, and it's about $300,000 to fix the road, right? The correct, if you will, by milling or grinding and doing a repave job. It was like $325,000, I think, for that road at that time, and that was, I think, 2 years ago.
3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago. Because it's definitely one of the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a whole list of them. I mean, Mountain Road's horrendous, Birch Road is mediocre, Wigan Road's mediocre, Douglas Hill's horrible, School Street's horrible, Fremont's horrible, Ward's Hill's horrible. I mean, those are realistically the worst ones in town.
Yeah.
I've been working, like we talked before, trying to figure out a good work plan for the future of Baldwin, and trying to prioritize what's what. So, I know the road's absolutely horrendous,
It
and
is.
trust me.
It's a safety issue.
Douglas Hill's right up there, and so is the Mountain Road, with
The top of Ward.
equally horrible.
Douglas Hill Road is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, really, you
I
can't
mean,
drive down the middle of the road, you can't, if you meet a car on that road, you're in trouble, because you're gonna be going right into holes. Bad.
I think Cram Road is to be on that list too. I don't think Wigan Road is that bad.
Well, that's because you go off Cram Road.
So when you
Yeah.
go.
If you go down, you go down
Get
like-
these things done.
yeah.
What is your protocol on doing this?
Yeah, that's right, that's what I was thinking.
We only vote for so much in
Yeah.
the road budget, you know, and if I get X amount to spend, and that they prioritize what needs to be prioritized. That's the idea, of getting everybody to spend more money on the road budget, to get the roads fixed,
Whether there's
everybody's
a
roads,
fixed
you know.
schedule or a fixed plan, I don't know. Just to let you know that when something comes up, like the two storms that we've had in the last several, winters, you know, that just wash out gullies and stuff, it eats away a lot of the road budget money
Very quickly.
very quickly. And usually the roads that take it the worst are the dirt roads, so it's not a paved road that gets the money applied to it, so. But we're aware, there's a lot of roads that need to be fixed, and I don't know that Chris is gonna make you a promise tonight, but he's taking your feedback for sure.
I definitely can't make any promises tonight. I will tell you, so based off, you know, the number we got a couple of years ago, so last year we factored, I think, $125,000 for paving. and then we get about an additional 50 from the state to help fund. So we're talking 150,000 a year to 175,000 a year. So I would have to not pave absolutely anything and use no paving budget for 2 years to do one road. And I'm not saying that the road doesn't need it, because it does. So I mean, that was my intentions right along, was to grind and to repave it and rebuild it, and then we're done for the next 20, or plus, hopefully. But it's a matter of trying to figure out where we can spend our money that is the most cost-effective way to do it without breaking the bank, I guess, is the way, or that may be, the road definitely needs work, and we're gonna be working on it this summer. We'll be down there, I'm sure you'll see us some. As far as rebuilding and repaving it, I'm not sure on the timeline at this point, because we've got some of the other ones that are just equally as horrendous as well. We're just trying to figure, and we have to look to see what we had left from last year's paving. We did come in a little under budget for the last paving job, so it'll, it rolls over every year into that fund, so we'll see where we're at come summertime.
I would think that you'd have to factor in a little bit, on which roads are more traveled as well. I mean, the Sebago, the Douglas Hill Road connects Baldwin to Sebago, and a lot of people use that.
Yeah, those are all Sebago
and I'm not.
You would be surprised the daily average count that Ward Hills receives.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all.
And that's all online, by the way.
What's that?
That's all that information,
Yeah, I know.
traffic count is all online.
But it's just that, the school street, I use that road as well, I know it, and because I go to the library, but it's not gonna have the same amount of travel that the Douglas Hill Road would have. Well, I'm thinking Douglas Hill Road more than even the Ward Hill.
Right.
It's just, we don't have, I'm glad you came to the select man's meeting, because I came, I don't know, maybe, how long have I been coming, like 2.5 years maybe? Yeah, it was an eye opener. We don't have a whole lot of money in this town, and we really have to, channel it out in very small little drips and drabs. And these three guys right here, really, they're amazing. They really are doing a great job.
You don't have to tell me on that.
No, I'm sure I don't,
What's your
but-
name again?
Mary Ellen McLean.
Mary Ellen. Just to put it in perspective, we've got a project this year that, the bids open on the 4th of March to replace the bridge over, Pigeon Brook down on River Road. The estimate right now is over $300,000. Luckily, we've got a grant from the state for $200,000 of that, but we've been putting money aside for years and years. People want us to pave the River Road, because every time you get rain down there, it just absolutely cuts it in half. So it's the same problem every town in Maine has, which is you just can't tax people enough to pay for the roads. And they say the average road, if you pave it, it'll be good for 7 years, and then it starts getting to be no good again. But if you actually look at how often we pave roads and can afford to pave roads, it's maybe 15 to 20 years. So there's a lot of years that's in bad shape. I know, I mean, the road I live on, Chase Road, was milled down and repaved in 2012, I think. I think it was 2012. It's falling apart again.
Mary Ellen, at least you've got speed control on your road.
Well, that's a fact.
Yeah.
But it's lonely, I'm not from around here, it's pretty lonely around here. So I like to see cars go by.
No, it's good to hear from you, thank you.
Yeah.
Did you get your remodel done over there?
I did, your last name is Minor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, we're all set.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
everything's good. Yeah, except we took all the trees out in front and now,
Yeah, I see that,
and
yeah.
people never knew there was a house there
No,
before.
you never saw it before. Yeah.
So that's my next
Yeah,
project,
the
that's
one
what
way
we're
down.
doing, having all this, Joe Gusto will come and take down all this stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't
It
plan
looks
on
great.
that project.
It looks great.
Oh, it'll look awesome,
Yeah.
I just didn't plan on that, but
Now, does that make-
it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm just concerned, because there's a couple of new houses there, and somebody had passed away a couple of weeks ago, they had a heart attack, I don't know how, and it was right where that area was. It just, I'm thinking of the town, and I don't know anything that you all know, obviously, you've been born and raised here, probably most of you, but, that street has a lot of character, and, you know, the historical societies right there, the library, everything's
Cool
right there.
cemeteries there too,
Yeah.
some really cool cemeteries there on that road.
Yeah, one is on my property.
Yeah, I taught school here in Baldwin, and I took all the kids to the cemeteries for a while.
Okay,
And we mapped them and, you know, looked at them.
yeah, we own the, Rounds Cemetery.
Yeah. There's two right together, and one of them's got, the animals are buried next to, you know, it's pretty cool. The kids love that one.
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
Well, the people we got the house from, that was
Oh,
the
that
Rounds
family?
family,
Yeah.
yeah. So once I get acclimated around here, I'm gonna join the historical society.
Good.
Oh, I'm dying to.
Yeah.
And I think there's things in there that we've donated in the past over the years, but I wanna see it again.
Yeah.
But, I appreciate you all listening to me, and I'll be back.
No,
You should come back. You should come to these meetings.
Yeah, well, I
He doesn't
don't
mind you
come.
calling him every morning.
He got tired of hearing from you today, Chris. All right,
I heard,
next thing I know.
I heard he's up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
So
Rest
great.
assured, I'm not at the shop at that time.
That's right, yeah.
They put the bump signs out on 107.
Yeah, they were out riding today. I see they did, some coal patching too.
As if that helps.
They think it does.
Yeah.
You guys suffer from, in case you're wondering, Douglas Hill's 480 daily traffic count. School Street is 90 average daily traffic count, and Fremont Avenue is 600.
Wow. That's a shortcut as well.
And that's where this can be right into the ground, for sure.
That's the one
Yeah,
across
no
from
base
me.
to it.
Right.
600 cars a day travel that way.
Wow.
Sounds
Average.
good.
I hate meeting trucks on that road, big trucks on that
So
road.
do we assume we're cost 300,000 plus to a road the way it should be done?
To do a mile.
That we just, okay.
And that's what School Street is, Fremont Avenue, or School Street's 1 mile long.
So you just
So-
patch things, you get them to.
We try not to. We try to fix them the right way when
Yeah.
we're doing them. You know, like they ground Chase Road, they've ground, Senator Black. There we go, that's the one I was thinking of.
Do they do Brown Road?
We didn't grind Brown
No
Road.
grind.
We put 2 inches hot top on it, and it shows.
Yeah, yeah.
There's Rocky Dunn was an overlay, I think,
Yeah.
in 2014 or 15,
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't know, did they overlay Wentworth, or did they grind it?
I think they just overlaid it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how much you can get down and who does the paving,
Yeah.
and how bad the road is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to do as much as we can with the money that the town allocates us.
Do you send out emails to all the people of this town?
At the
To
town
let you know,
website.
to let them know what's going on monthly? or-
No,
No?
no, you gotta look it up on the website. Or
Okay,
come to
no,
the
that's
meeting.
good.
Or
Yeah.
come to these meetings. You
Yeah.
find out a lot. You can ask questions, these
Well,
guys
that's
are-
what I found out about the
Yeah.
March 4th, the pigeon.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
No.
That's near me too.
Yes, it is.
Actually, everything's near me. This town only has, what, 1,600 people, right? And I come from 65,000.
We're spread out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been told by a resident on Fremont Avenue not to pave it.
People be flying.
I'm with them.
Yeah, 'cause, yeah,
I'm with
got
them.
natural speed bumps going down.
Keep the traffic out.
I don't, I mean, speed limit's 45 at
Yeah.
Fremont Avenue.
I'm not enthusiastic about keeping Senator Black Road paved.
No.
No.
Slows it down.
The engines though would be washing out every weekend.
That's-
That's the problem is that.
And, you know, Bob, it really, personally, it wouldn't bother me.
Yeah, you couldn't get down to another.
Oh, I got my own roads,
Oh.
internal roads.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You take the tractor.
Yeah, I take the tractor.
Joe can get to San Juan from his house.
Yeah.
Through the woods?
Yep. As far as I wanna go.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else? Anything else you wanna bring up, or?
No.
Well, thank you for coming.
I'll give it to you in moving spirit. No.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, that's fine, I just wanted to address that.
Sometimes.
Now I know Chris,
Yeah.
I can put the face to the name.
You can bring it to us, and sometimes we may not have the answer for you, so we try. Chad, you got anything?
Nope.
Okay. Chris, you got anything else? Okay. Robert?
Thank you.
I would like to talk to Chris about the, excavator.
Sure.
You guys read the spec?
No, not yet.
I did, but, I mean, when I got here, I didn't print it out when I got home or anything like that.
I don't wanna question your choice.
You can question that,
I've gone through 5 or 6 different,
We can talk about it, I'm good with
looked like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different choices, and we have 4 offers or bids from various dealers.
Yep, quotes, yep.
And has come up with a recommendation. The question I have for Chris and for the other members of the board here is this, equivalent to a request for bids?
I guess I don't know what,
I think it's probably as good as you're gonna get in terms of being able to,
yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone's gonna come up with anything different.
well, not in terms of choice, but in terms of how you sort out, you know, when we do an open for bid type thing, you know, at 6 o'clock selectmen's meeting, usually we have a fairly concise statement of what we want.
Yep.
And then, we don't always take what's offered, we have to do some kind of an assessment of what we think is best for the town, and we don't always take the lowest offer. I think Chris has done a pretty good job of sorting out what he wants, and then, kind of rank ordering what's available. So I guess the question, what do you think, is this as good as an equivalent in terms for the town in the purchase? A lot of people would like to see an open the bid type of process on most of these big purchases.
Yeah. Could I ask a question, Bob? Sure. I seem to remember in the past that when we bought large pieces of equipment, it's gone to town meeting. Why are we not doing that
Well, we
anymore?
did. Had a special town meeting to.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Month ago?
Yeah.
Roughly?
The very last one,
Yeah.
Okay.
The discussion was, would we change the, capital investment plan to allow him to buy, an excavator and put off the purchase of the plow truck?
I remember, thank you. I just,
Oh, that's good.
Reallocation.
I wasn't paying close attention then, but this has ground on so long at night.
But I think at the time, we didn't have the specs like you do now.
Right.
When you went to the town.
Right, yep, and so what we have now, we have some costs. I think the costs that have been laid out here are within, what we put forward, what we thought it would be. But I've got to go back and look at the capital investment program one more time just to make sure, but it looks like it. I think we're estimating in the $2,700.
Yeah, that's what we figured out, yeah. When you and I sat down, we figured somewhere right around $30,000 a year. With a buyout that was close to the exact there that,
Yeah.
the one we were looking at.
So,
So the
I
two-wheeler,
just wanna get a sense from yourself, and from the other members of the board, whether this would be a, acceptable way to, purchase this thing in a competitive manner.
I don't think we gave people the opportunity to offer it to us, we'd get a better deal from the companies.
I don't know, I think that's what he's done.
Mhm.
Give me your best deal.
Yeah, I mean, and they all knew that I was talking to everybody. It's not like it was anything, oh, I'm gonna go to, this guy and this guy. I mean, I went to 7 different companies. I mean, I didn't go price out a AXMG from Scott's Recreation, but we went with all, top brand companies that were reliable, had good warranties, respectable in the business, if you will. You're not just seeing them, it's not getting sold at the handyman shop.
Are these dealers all within reach?
Yeah, so the furthest one away is the Hitachi, which is up in Madison. And that's Frank Martin and Sons. However, they are down this way frequently with a service truck because they sell a lot of Tiger Cat forestry equipment, so they're at Keels. Not weekly, but pretty close to weekly, he said. Everyone else, Cat's in Scarborough, John Deere's and Volvo are in Westbrook, Takuchi, Devlon are in Gorham. I don't even remember what else I had on the list.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone's local in Maine. Like I said, Hitachi's the furthest one, which is Madison.
So just something I was looking at, I know, it'd be nice to have a wheeled machine, obviously.
Yep.
Now, Volvo quoted you on the A88, why didn't they quote you on the wheel machine that they have?
Because it has to go to a different salesman. And it's supposedly with him. I haven't heard from him. Like I said, I called him, emailed him, messaged him, whatever, and the discussion that I had was, can you quote me on this and this? And he goes, I've never heard of an EWR 130. And I'm like, but it's your machine. So
Doesn't sound like you got a big future in sales.
well, so, and with that being said, I understand after talking to someone else that Volvo basically says, you're the salesman for everything under 20,000 pounds, you're the salesman for anything over 20,000. So probably in the 20,000 pound and under, he's probably well versed. But anything over that, he doesn't have to look at it, it's not his job. Still, I still think he should have known what I was talking about. However,
I never heard of one.
there was some communication issues there, apparently, but it is with the other salesman, and if we want to wait to get it, that's perfectly fine. I mean, Bob wants to review the
Yeah, look at the numbers.
cheat sheet again, but CIP, there we go. The Excel.
I just, wanted to talk about the process as well, not just.
Yeah, and I think the process, that's gonna be up to you guys, whether you feel that it suffice, or whether we need to go about it a different way, and we can do it differently, but.
In the past, we've always, you can bid it out, or you can get several estimates of,
I think in the truck process, buying.
get several estimates. And
Yeah.
I think that's what they did with the fire department too, is, in the past, that's what we did, to buy a truck.
All right. Thanks.
Yes.
That's it.
That's it. Dale, got anything?
Nothing. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Yeah.